Is Chinese New Year the next Overwatch event? Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I'm Stylosa, and you may remember the whole controversy with the May legendary Christmas skin and how people didn't actually think it was worthy of being a legendary skin and all of that stuff. Well, from that, there was a post on the forums and it said this: for people concerned that May is not going to get another legendary for a long time, you need not worry, we have something pretty awesome for her early next year. And that's not just from anyone, that's from Jeff Kaplan. So what does that mean? They have something early for May next year? What? It's time to speculate, ladies and gentlemen. If we look at Blizzard's other games, let's look at World of Warcraft. It has a Chinese New Year event, which I believe goes by the name of the Lunar Festival. That's the Chinese New Year event. Why would they have that? Well, Blizzard games are huge in Asia, and if you just look at the countries where the Chinese New Year is celebrated, well, the list is long. It is very, very long. So obviously China, right? Chinese communities worldwide as well. Korean Peninsula, Japan, Mongolia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, etc, etc. Loads of countries. That is hundreds of millions. Well, it's billions of players, right, I guess. If you counted all of China. Yeah, it would be billions, wouldn't it? I don't actually know what the size of the Blizzard player base in Asia, but it's got to be large. It has to be really, really large. Because look at stuff like Warcraft 3 was amazingly popular in China. World of Warcraft is popular. Overwatch is crazy popular. StarCraft in Korea is crazy popular. So they have massive communities in that area of the world, and it makes sense that they would sort of pay homage to them with in-game events, and they already do this with World of Warcraft, so to do it in Overwatch, it's not really that much of a stretch of the imagination. Anyway, what the hell is Chinese New Year? Well, let's go to Wikipedia, because honestly, I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was the start of the Chinese calendar, but I didn't actually know what the event involved. So, what the hell is it? Well, according to Wikipedia, Chinese New Year, known in modern Chinese as the Spring Festival, is an important Chinese festival celebrated at the turn of the traditional lunisolar Chinese calendar. Celebrations traditionally run from the evening preceding the first day to the Lantern Festival on the 15th day of the first calendar month. And there's a lot more detail going into, more specifics of the event itself. This is what's interesting though, because within China, regional customs and traditions concerning the celebration of the Chinese New Year vary wildly. Often, the evening preceding Chinese New Year's Day is an occasion for Chinese families to gather for an annual reunion dinner. It is also traditional for every family to thoroughly cleanse the house in order to sweep away any ill fortune and to make way for good incoming luck. Windows and doors are decorated with red colour paper, and this is the interesting thing, other activities also include lighting firecrackers and giving money in red paper envelopes. Alright then, so what the hell will this event be if it is a Chinese New Year event, which I am pretty sure it's going to be, because as I've just explained, Blizzard has a massive, massive Asian audience, and it would make sense to cover this. After all, they've covered Winter Wonderland, which is basically Christmas, and other Western events, or events in the real world. Now, let's go into detail on this and let's go crazy and speculate. So, will the loot boxes be red paper envelopes? It makes sense, right? If they're given traditionally at Chinese New Year, then just turn the loot crate, which is currently a present for Christmas, I guess, although it will go back to the standard loot crate before this event starts, because it does start on the 28th of January, so it won't start immediately after the Christmas event, but it'll start pretty soon. But anyway, we will get red paper envelopes, probably. I don't know, I think that's a pretty good shout. But what about custom maps? Now, in the last event, we had Hanamura Christmas and we had King's Row. King's Row was heavily edited, Hanamura was just sort of turned white. Before that, for the Halloween event, we had Hollywood, which was again kind of heavily edited with different props, new posters and things like that. What would we get for Chinese New Year? Well, we've got a Chinese map in the game, it's Lijiang Tower, so it would make sense if that suddenly became a Chinese New Year festival with loads of Chinese lanterns, firecrackers going off and all of that stuff. That's probably what will happen if they do a Chinese New Year event. As for other maps, well, I don't think you would see the Japanese map, so Hanamura get changed, to be honest, because it's more of a Chinese-y event, although apparently it is observed in Japan in some degree, but I don't think it's as, they've got a Chinese map, so they probably would just edit the Chinese map. What about skins? Well, during the event itself, there is a thing called the Lion Dance and a thing called the Dragon Dance. And let me explain what these are. So the Lion Dance is a form of traditional dance in Chinese culture and other Asian countries in which performers mimic a lion's movements in a lion costume. What you've probably seen though, and everybody has seen this, is the Dragon Dance. This is where people get together under like a massive dragon and they sort of dance and they make the dragon like undulate like a serpent. Like it's a... Yeah, everybody knows what a Chinese dragon kind of looks like. So, will we get skins based off those? Now, when I look at Mei, you could probably put Mei into like one of these dragon costumes, maybe. But then when I look at the other characters in the game for an actual event, it's pretty difficult, right? Like, how do you give them Chinese New Year event skins? Because if you look at Halloween, there's loads of different Halloween themes, yeah? Easy to edit a lot of the skins. Well, not edit as such, but come up with ideas for skins. Same for Christmas, you know, Santa Torbjorn, Elf Tracer. The list just goes on. But Chinese New Year, beyond the actual dragon, or maybe a lion, but the dragon would be more synonymous with the event. What do you do? Well, then it got me thinking. Each of the Chinese years is named after an animal. And I think the next Chinese year is the rooster. But you have things like the dog, the cat, etc., etc. So maybe you could get a rat Junkrat skin. Or maybe that would be pointless. You might do, I don't know. Like Year of the Rat, you know, maybe it'll be Year of Skins. Maybe that'll be the inspiration for all of the other skins they do for this. It's going to be interesting. We do know, though, that we're going to get a Mei legendary skin early in the year because of the quote at the start of this video from Jeff. So, will that be like a Mei dragon skin? Possibly. And from what he was saying in that thread, maybe not what he's saying, but you can read into it in maybe a little bit more detail. The thread was about talking how the Mei Christmas skin is not heavily edited. It's not on the same level as the other legendary skins. So for him to respond to that thread kind of says that we have a skin which is heavily edited. So maybe it is a Mei dragon skin. Or maybe it's not even a Chinese New Year event. Maybe it is the first Overwatch-centric lore event. So what I mean by that is an event that is based purely on Overwatch's lore. Because Overwatch needs to advance the story a little bit. Because it's not... Well, I say story in Overwatch. There is story, but it isn't a lot. It's not like there's tons and tons of... active story points or things like that going on. It's kind of in limbo right now, so I would love it. I would absolutely love it if they changed the actual in-game events, not to necessarily reflect real-world events, but to be based on things going on right now in Overwatch. I think I sort of said this in a video before, but I really would like to see like an Omnic invasion suddenly starts or something like that, and that's an event, and everything is based around fighting back that attack, like the Omnic Uprising suddenly happens or something and we have to fight them back and it's a special brawl. Maybe it could be something like that, something based around Lijiang Tower, because remember there's the Chinese space program is based from there, so maybe it could be something I don't know, to do with the moon and Winston's friends, if you can even call them that. They're not his friends, they're killer apes, sentient killer apes on the moon. My god, maybe it could be something to do with that. If it is, I would be very surprised, and it would be kind of out of the blue because it seems so easy for them to just make a Chinese New Year event. But here's the other thing as well. They have said, and this was again by Jeff on the forums, there will be no Easter and no Valentine's Day event. Now, if you look at the calendar, well, if you take away those two events, which I thought there would be an Easter event, I would have bet money on an Easter event. A Valentine's Day event, maybe not so much. But then again, World of Warcraft has these, so maybe Overwatch should have them. But an Easter event, I probably would have expected that, because you can imagine all the skins, like bunny outfits and stuff like that, and like going on an Easter egg hunt or something. You can easily imagine what's going on there. But for them to decide not to do that means they've obviously got other plans. Now, last year we only had 3 events. This is because Overwatch launched halfway through the year. So it launched in May. We got the Summer Games, we got Halloween, we got Christmas. So are we going to see Summer Games, Halloween and Christmas next year? Summer Games is a little bit iffy. Like, that was almost like to test the waters, I think. It was their first event. Let's see what we can do. If you look at Halloween, that was a fantastic event. That was the best event by far. Absolutely the best. I don't think anybody would argue with me. That was such a phenomenal event. The brawl was fantastic. The skins were fantastic. Just fantastic all round. And then Christmas. Obviously, Halloween and Christmas are major US holidays. So for those not to be covered every single year, I would be very surprised. What's going to be the big thing, though, going into next year is, do they just simply copy the events? Is it just, oh, it's Junkenstein's Revenge again? Or do they change the event? They have to change them. This could be the start, though, of something pretty ridiculous, if it is a Overwatch-centric lore event. However, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Chinese New Year. So let's think about the brawl, because if this is a full-blown Chinese New Year event, what are they going to do for the brawl? Honestly, I don't know. I really, really don't know. It could be some kind of, like, parade, like a mini dance game or something. I don't know. Maybe, though, they don't even... Maybe this is a mini event. Maybe it's not like a major event like all of the other ones have been. Maybe this is just a minor event where there's only a skin for Mei and there's only a slight adaptation of the Lijiang Tower map. And that's it. If it is that, would that be an issue? I don't know, like, they've raised the bar so high with their events, you kind of want each one to be better than the next. I suffered quite bad with this for the Winter Wonderland event, which is on itself a pretty good event, but when you compare it to the Halloween event, it's not as good, and I was expecting it to be a better event, just like everything would be better, all of the skins would be better. The skins are really good though, with some exceptions for the Winter Wonderland skins. The Brawl, though, is not as good. I'm sorry, this is my opinion, but it is not as good as Junkenstein's Revenge, because that was it was an experience. The Christmas one is just like, it's a 6v6 on a map that already exists with slightly iffy mechanics. It's fun. It is fun. It is a fun little mode, but it's not like Junkenstein's Revenge. So, what does that mean? If this is a mini event for Chinese New Year, will we see more mini events alongside major events? Is it actually a lot to ask of the team to keep pumping out these events? It probably is, because you think of Overwatch, you think of the size of the team, you think of everything they're working on. You could probably say, oh yeah, we want content all the time, we want new skins, we want this, we want that. But to knock it out of the park every single time is going to be extremely difficult. If we only had Overwatch for half a year, really, of launch, and they did 3 events, well, what are we, I mean, are we going to say a minimum of 6 events this year? Well, in 2017, and then maybe mini events along with that, and all of the balance updates and new maps, and there is so much going on in Overwatch. Maybe sometimes we do get a little bit like, we want a lot of stuff. I don't know. Maybe we should expect that, though. Blizzard is a big company after all. Anyway, guys, Chinese New Year, I'm pretty sure, is going to be the next event, and May will get a special dragon skin, probably. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Are you Chinese? Maybe you could, if you are Chinese, actually, you do observe the Chinese New Year, maybe you could give me some ideas as to what they could actually do for a brawl, or maybe what they could do for skins, because my idea of, yeah, May getting the dragon skin, then other characters just getting skins based on of the year, you know, so year of the dog, year of the rat, etc, etc. Maybe that might be a little bit too obscure. Who knows? Alright guys, I've been Stylosa, this is Unit Lost, and this has been wild speculation on Chinese New Year being the next Overwatch major event. You can follow me on Twitter, guys, which is @UnitLostGaming, and I'll catch you next time. Toodaloo.